Hello world of YouTube and welcome to another Carversation. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects in the world, game shows. Specifically one special game show, and that is the most popular live mobile game show where you can answer questions to win cash, HQ Trivia. Now, I've been playing HQ since late 2017, even maybe like earlier than that. Like maybe pre-fall 2017. I've been playing HQ for a long fucking time. And for those who don't know what HQ is, it's a free app where they have two games now, but originally it was just a trivia app where you answered questions and potentially won a piece of a pot, like a big bunch of money. Which is a cool concept, cool idea. Kind of reminds me of the 1 versus 100 that the Xbox Live Marketplace used to have, which I played every night that it was on. I loved 1 versus 100. Thought it was a really cool concept, and HQ kind of takes that concept and runs with it to make something new and fresh. And I love the app. I've been playing the game for a long time, and I think that when they added Words, which is a word-based, almost Wheel of Fortune style game, it was also a lot of fun. But I think in its current state, it is the least fun to play, and it's in its worst state right now, personally, I think. I think they're doing some things right, but they're also moving towards some very dumb ideas in the form of subscriptions, which completely defeats the purpose of playing HQ. HQ is almost like a trivia lottery, where you could answer questions, and if you were smart enough or were good enough at guessing, you were lucky enough to win. Every one of HQ felt like a great victory, a great task had been completed for me personally. You know, even when it was during the seasons where I was like level 10 and I only had to answer like 1 or 2 questions depending on if I had an extra life. You know, I still played HQ pretty regularly up until really this year. And in this video, I'm going to kind of lay out my issues with the app since its inception, and my issues with its current state, and where I think they could really improve their stuff. Now, I'm not going to talk about the behind-the-scenes shit. I know a lot of people get swept up in the drama behind the scenes involving like Russ and all that sort of stuff, and I don't really want to do that just because I want to talk about the app itself. You know, it has nothing to do with hype or anything pre-HQ, but I think the app has never been perfect. You know, early on when it was new, the games were constantly crashing. You know, it was hard to really stay in a game even with a good internet connection. And it's mostly because of their servers, and I get it. I get why. A lot of people, once it caught on, were joining the games, and it was much too much for the servers to handle. But what I would have done to alleviate even that is to have a soft rollout like they did with Hype. Hype had an extensive beta process, and I don't know how long the beta for HQ went for, only because I wasn't a part of the beta for that. I was a part of the beta for Hype, and I remember Hype wasn't the most stable thing when it came out, but once it went public, it stayed pretty stable even with a semi-active user base. So I feel like if they would have had a steadier rollout with HQ, it would have been seemingly a similar process, but maybe because, again, the prospect of winning free money, it just drew more people in. But that could be the case for that. Even amidst its issues, though, early on, I was still really into playing the game. I played every night, every afternoon that I was home, I played the game. I was obsessed with HQ. And I think issues with the show as it went forward more had to do with theme nights. I think theme nights are a smart idea, and they're a good, thought to bring in new viewers. But I know that I'm not the only one that kind of wished that they had just more regular nights. You know, I'm a big fan of Marvel movies, but I don't need like 8 Marvel movie nights in a month, or anything like that. I feel like or at least vary up the theme nights, because I feel like they did The Office too much, they did Marvel too much. Even Harry Potter, like the Harry Potter one made sense to do the second time around, especially because they had a deal with Crimes of Grindelwald, which again I was happy to see. I was glad that HQ was getting more financial backers as far as like sponsors and stuff, because I feel like that was gonna help get the stability that the app needed in order to help it grow. But that never really happened, and unfortunately, I think the behind the scenes kind of factored into. But again, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to go into details about that. If you want to know any details with the behind the scenes of HQ, you've got the internet at your disposal. I just feel like they had a hard time remaining stagnancy because of those technical issues that still arose during the massive financial, input that was happening. A lot of the sponsorships that were going on. The game was still crashing all the fucking time, and it was frustrating. I think that another big plus that they added to the thing was the play a certain amount of days to get extra lives feature, because after a while I had told all my friends to play HQ and I didn't have any chances to get extra lives, and I think adding the consecutive days feature was helpful, and I think 5 was a good number. The one thing I would have changed during the seasons is, and again, it makes the game easier, I know, but say you reach like a certain level, the number of days you need to win goes down to 3. Like have 5, then 4, then 3, just to again entice people to come back. If you level up more, if you're dedicated to the app, you're already going to come back, but it adds another level of enticement, because even when I was level 10 and had extra lives, I didn't win every game. It was fucking tough, because I either had to know whatever the fuck the Conqueror of France in 1822 was drinking on Sunday, June 14th, or I had to be good at guessing. Yeah, this dude is fucking following me. He fucking ran a red light to follow me. It's fucked up, dude. I think my other big issue, and it's one that's going on in its current state especially, is the changing of the format of the show. So I like when they added like a preamble like they do with words. I think it cut the bullshit, which I think also lost a lot of people. They were spending too much time rambling before the show started. And I think that with the advent of the kind of pre-show warm-up, it cut the bullshit. But I think they needed to do that sooner. My issue with the second season was that they added all of these hindrances to players. Like, oh, there's more questions on this night because the pot's bigger. But the pot isn't as big as it was the last season. So it was just frustrating. Like, the second season is really what killed HQ for me. Like, I like the advent of seasons. I like the idea of having the community build towards a huge goal, by playing consecutive nights, doing all this sort of stuff. I thought that was great. But in the second season, they did a lot of the pot's bigger, but also you're going to have a lot more questions with not a whole lot of payback. And then words, they changed words with the second season. So the first season had words, and it was great. It was fun. I liked the system of words. Again, the 10 strike system didn't kill the game. It didn't make the game too easy, because the puzzles were still incredibly cryptic. I know some people have issues with the crypticness of the hints. I agree to some extent, but you do also get 10 strikes a puzzle, so it kind of balanced out. In the second season, you only had 5 strikes, and you earned the other 5 strikes, or 10 strikes really, and it was just less fun. And I think that was my issue with the game as it went on, is it was less fun, because it was bogged down in theme nights. The leveling system became like almost a grind to like a terrible degree. It took forever to level up in the second season, and even with points multipliers, which is a good way to get people to spend money in an app, I ain't flacking you for that, and I ain't flacking you for making extra lives purchasable, because again, if you want to make money from your users, that's a good way to do it. But even amidst all of the bonus multiplier nights, the bonus upgrades, the second season I only got to like level 7 and level 8, and I played the game a fuck ton still. But in this third season, it's a different type of game altogether, and I think it's a good thing to do to switch up the game and make it feel fresh. But I don't think it's enough to make me want to keep coming back, because the issues from Season 2 are still there as far as the leveling up is concerned and everything. And I think that's because they want people to buy multipliers. And again, that makes sense. I just kept playing it less and less because I found it less fun to play. The questions didn't really have much of a ramp up, or they didn't really have much of a curve. It was just immediately... My phone overheated while I was driving. Sorry about that. But the questions don't seem to match the tone of the show. Like, the show's about these checkpoints now, which, again, I really like, and it incentivizes people to win more. And I like that they're doing stuff like that. But, one, I think that there's not a big enough ramp. Like, it's still pretty hard to even get to the first checkpoint, which is only 8 questions in out of, like, a 20-something question quiz now. But also, theme nights really neuter this idea because you're isolating a large part of a demographic where the whole idea of this season is everybody gets a shot at the big pot. And I know studying all that sort of stuff, but you're asking someone to, like, become a fan of a thing that, like, they might not have any interest in. That completely defeats the purpose of having this anyone could win the big pot mentality. But again, I like this concept. The biggest reason why I don't play now is because anytime I've played, I just don't have fun anymore. And I think it's because of how bogged down I was with last season. You know, I've gotten to like level 3 or 4 this season, and I don't have any urge to play anymore. But I'm probably, the last nail in the coffin for me is probably going to be this recent subscription announcement, which I don't even know if it's still happening anymore, because HQ is also synonymous with flipping shit around, changing ideas. They had this other show, these other different show ideas they wanted to do on the app, and those just kind of fell through. So maybe the subscriptions are going to fall through as well. But I haven't seen any news saying otherwise. And plus, I think it's dumb that they're now not having words air every night. But again, that's just me. As a big fan, as a giant fan of HQ, you know, I wanted this app to succeed. And now it's at its lowest consistent download rate from what I understand and all that sort of stuff. And it sucks. It's upsetting. It fucking sucks. But maybe they can turn it around. Maybe if they ditch this subscription idea and kind of reformat a little bit, they can recoup their losses that they might have gained. But as a longtime fan of HQ, long time in the context of when it's been around, the only other things I'd aim to fix, because they've kind of fixed the stability. The game is pretty stable now to play. I'd really do a better job at expanding the show, switching it up like you did this season. Don't lose sight of a big goal, though, because now this season just kind of seems like it's going to be going on indefinitely. And I'd like to see the game switch up even more in some ways if possible. And just give users more shit, you know? Give them the chance to do more shit. That's kind of... Like I said, if you kind of entice them to level up more, give them more perks, stuff like that, give them an advantage, sure, to win, but, you know, the game still gets hard, so, it kind of counterbalances itself. Like, Season 1 had some flaws with its difficulty, but it at least was fun to play, you know, it was fun to level up, it was fun to see the jackpot rise, you know, but that's my shit with HQ. What do you think of HQ? Do you play HQ? Do you like trivia? Do you like trivia games? Let me know. If there's a topic you'd like for me to discuss in conversation as well, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for support here and on Patreon. I'm going to get out of here. I've been Viral Rack. You guys have good days, situations, and I'll see you another day.